During Memorial Day weekend, known as the Rolling Thunder, an injured Marine stood in the middle of the street and held a salute for 3 hours. While he was honoring the fallen soldiers, bikers suddenly appeared and did something unexpected. Under the scorching sun, veteran Sergeant Tim Chambers stood in the busy street, his uniform decorated with medals and patches showing his years of service and achievements. He stood there for 15 minutes with his arm raised in salute, a gesture of respect to his fallen comrades whose names were being etched into the new war memorial in front of him. His determination caught the attention of everyone who saw him, especially because it looked like he had no intention of leaving or lowering his arm. For 3 hours he stayed in place, his gaze fixed on the horizon, his salute unbroken. The pain from his injury, a reminder of the last battlefield, gnawed at him, but his resolve was strong. His hand remained raised, as if frozen in time. He stayed focused, and nothing distracted him from his tribute. His action shocked the onlookers, and as the hours stretched, word about a veteran Marine paying respects to the fallen comrades and those who went missing while serving the country spread all over the world. People stopped whatever they were doing to witness that moment. Some lined up along the roads with their flags in their hands, while others chose to stay at a distance and watched as others paid their tributes. As his hand remained in salute, Tim's mind raced to a memory that gave him the strength to keep his hand raised despite every need to lower it. Years had passed since Tim lost his brother on a battlefield, and that particular day reminded him of the exact date that Mark sacrificed himself to save his life. Mark was Tim's identical twin brother. They were the kind of twins who did everything together. Separating them had been a problem ever since they were children. They had the same interests and passions, and that's how they both joined the Marines. In the military, they worked together and always protected each other whenever duty called. They found themselves fighting side by side. The plan was to serve their country until they grew old together, but fate had different plans. Memories of the last day he saw his brother alive ran through his mind as he stood in the middle of the street. They had been sent to a war zone to fight among their fellow soldiers, protecting their country. Explosions and gunfire could be heard from a distance as they fought. Before they could receive commands from their leaders, they were ambushed by spies who had been operating in the area unknowingly for a long time. Tim and Mark's unit encountered heavy enemy fire, but with courage, they managed to fight back their enemies. The spies had multiple snipers hiding at vantage points, and as soon as they received commands, they started firing bullets, killing 2 Marine soldiers on the spot. It was a brutal war. In the middle of the chaos and confusion, Tim was hit by a sniper bullet in the leg and was badly wounded. As he tried to get to a safe place, Mark spotted him and, without hesitation, went to save him. Ducking the flying bullets, Mark pulled his fallen brother to safety while shielding him from the enemy bullets. What he did was irrational, and it exposed him to one of the spy snipers, who shot him in the head. Mark collapsed onto Tim and passed on the spot, trying to save his brother's life. Tim was left yelling for him to wake up until the other soldiers came to remove his body from on top of him. Tim's mouth twitched at the memory. He closed his eyes for a moment, trying to keep the tears at bay. The death of his twin brother was an endless source of pain and trauma. Mark losing his life trying to save his own was a memory that lived in his mind rent-free and hurt even more than his injured leg. But years had passed, and Tim had finally made peace with the fact that his brother died a hero. It hadn't been easy for him, but he was at a place where he didn't blame himself anymore. Mark had sacrificed himself trying to save him, and Tim was grateful, although he could never bring him back. Tim comforted himself with the fact that his brother's legacy would live forever in the hearts of those who knew him. 2 hours had already passed, and Tim was still paying tribute to the fallen soldiers. His arm was aching and weary, but despite that, he held his salute firm. This was more than just a salute. It was a promise he kept of never forgetting the sacrifice of those who lost their lives while serving their country, including his brother Mark. The midday sun was unfriendly, and the scorching rays made every minute feel like an eternity for Tim. As sweat dripped down his chin, his uniform clung to his skin, making him uncomfortable. But that could not stop him from paying respect to his fellow soldiers. The heat was so intense that those watching from the sides had to use umbrellas as shelter. His throat became dry, but he did not stop raising a salute. His injured leg hurt terribly. He wasn't used to standing for such extended periods. But even as all the muscles in his leg throbbed painfully, the Marine ignored them without so much as a flinch. His pain and discomfort were nothing compared to the sacrifice that his fellow men and women had made so he could live. As more hours passed, Tim's salute became a reflection of the endurance that all the veterans had adopted during their service time. The gesture honored his brother and all the veterans in the world who deserved it. Who is he saluting? Is he a veteran all this time? I can't believe it. People couldn't stop whispering in the gathering as they witnessed the lone veteran soldier pay his tributes. Those whispers were a reminder that he was not alone. He had so many souls surrounding him with the same objective as his. Many of them understood and recognized the meaning of his gesture. Some paid their tributes in silence as they stood and watched from a distance. After 3 hours under the unbearable heat, Tim was still holding his salute. The crowd began to disperse when the rumble of approaching bikers broke the silence. The bikers, with their leather jackets and intimidating appearance, made the crowd uneasy, fearing disruption. Known for their rough reputation, the bikers were often misunderstood as troublemakers. However, the bikers dismounted silently and formed a circle around Tim. In a surprising gesture, they raised their arms in salute. Tim looked at them with appreciation, realizing they shared his respect for fallen soldiers. One biker approached Tim with a bottle of water, offering him a drink without interrupting his salute. This simple act of kindness bridged the gap between the bikers and society. The crowd watched in awe as the bikers stood in honor of the veterans, challenging their preconceived notions. The fear of bikers faded as people witnessed their true character and respect for those who served. At this point, Tim was exhausted, and the scorching sun was making it hard for him to continue standing. But he was known to be a strong man who never gave up on his missions. Suddenly, another biker emerged from the circle. He carried no bottles of water or anything to quench Tim's thirst, but he had something else in his right hand, a well-made pocket fan. His intentions were so clear that even Tim couldn't help but shed a tear when he saw him approaching. The biker went and stood beside Tim, fanning him and creating a cool breeze of air, saving the Marine from the oppressive heat. This simple act of kindness enabled Tim to maintain his position as the relief from the heat was like removing a heavy log from his shoulders. His heart was full of joy and gratitude, silently thanking the biker for his selfless act. When everyone thought it was over, another biker walked straight towards Tim and positioned himself behind him, raising an umbrella to shield him from the heat. With each passing minute, Tim wondered how he would thank the brave men standing next to him. For those watching, it was a silent reminder of the kindness and compassion in society. As the sun set, painting the sky purple and gold, veteran Sergeant Tim Chambers lowered his arm from his long salute. He felt fulfilled after honoring his fallen brother and every veteran. The bikers also lowered their salutes and approached Tim, shaking his hand or nodding in respect. It was a show of unity, a bond among those who knew the true cost of freedom. Tim thanked the bikers for standing with him and waved to the crowd before they dispersed. He said, "Today, I have seen the beautiful side of these bikers. They might have a bad name, but today they have won my heart. They showed that it's easy to judge others based on what we hear about them. But today, we learned that true character is not shown by appearance, but by what's in the heart." He nodded to the bikers in gratitude, and everyone felt inspired by his words. As the onlookers left, they carried memories of Tim and the bikers. They understood the importance of respecting each other, no matter how different their lives might be. It was a simple way to bridge the gap between the bikers and society. The bikers started their engines and left, hoping society would finally accept them. Tim watched from a distance as the motorcycles disappeared into the horizon. Though they might never meet again, Tim would always remember the moment they shared. He turned and made his way home, his duty to his brother and all fallen soldiers fulfilled, his heart full. The unthinkable had happened, not in grand gestures or words, but in the silent understanding between warriors. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you.